All right, everybody, we are back again. This is the Wide World of Raff on 93.7 The Ticket. It is Wednesday night, and we are looking at the National Football League. I don't have the results of our picks from last week. I am actually out of town right now, so we will have to maybe get those results next week from Harrison. But we will do the picks for this week 17, the games between December 27th and January 2nd. We'll be into a new year this year. Holy cow, it's going fast. Hope everybody's been having a great year and on to 2024. Hopefully, the Broncos can make a playoff game next year. But oh well, that's life. That's that's football. So we'll get there. So we'll start out our picking today with game number one on Thursday, December 28th at 7:15 p.m. on Amazon Prime. You've got the New York Jets versus the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland, the dog pound on Amazon Prime. So once again, if you don't have Amazon Prime, probably not going to be watching the game. Not sure if this is a huge watched game for excitement. You've got the Jets. You've got Trevor Simeon at quarterback, I would assume, probably maybe Zach Wilson. You got Wilson, Simeon. You got Aaron Rodgers, the emergency, not going to play third string quarterback, but on the roster and practicing with the Jets. They're already looking towards next year. And then you've got the Cleveland Browns with the surprise of the year at quarterback, Joe Flacco, after throwing for 360 yards last week, 250 some to Amari Cooper. The Browns are one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now at 10-5. If you have asked me 5, 6 weeks ago, if this was what I'd foresee for the Browns, I'd be like, no way. I just didn't think with Deshaun Watson getting injured, even though Deshaun really wasn't, doing great. I thought their only chance of being successful was going to be with Deshaun Watson. But Joe Flacco's got that team playing well. The defense, they can play with anybody on that defensive side of the ball. So if Flacco keeps on, having those 4 or 5 chunk plays a game, look for the Browns to be competitive going into the playoffs. With that, I am going to go with the Cleveland Browns over the Jets. It's in Cleveland. You got the dog pound. They always bring the excitement. They're going to be even more exciting than ever with Joe Flacco leading the way. So Amari Cooper, Joe Flacco. I'm going with the Browns over the Jets on Thursday night. All right, we'll move on to the next game. We're going to go Saturday, December 30th on ESPN Plus, ABC, and ESPN. We're going to have the division winning NFC Central Detroit Lions facing off against the Dallas Cowboys at Jerry World in Dallas. The Cowboys coming off a rough week there against the Dolphins. Looked like they might have that game, chance of winning that game, but a couple snafus here and there. The Cowboys ended up losing. But this is one of those games the Cowboys come home. We know how the Cowboys play at home and how the Cowboys play on the road. You got the Lions. They're going to be celebrating a lot this week, having won the NFC Central. Cowboys, Dak Prescott, the questions are going to probably arise again with Dak. Can you win the big games? This, for the Cowboys, I would say is a big game. Right now, it looks like it'll be a wild card spot for them. The Lions, they'll get a host a home game after winning the division. But I'm going to go with the Cowboys here. I think at home, I think the Cowboys have the firepower. Plus, the way they play at home. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys. That defense, they'll cause some turnovers. Goff and the Lions have played really well the last couple of weeks. But I think it's probably time for the Cowboys to get that 11th victory of the year. Look for CeeDee Lamb to have a big game. So I am going to go with the Dallas Cowboys in this game. It'll be close, I think, but I'm going to go with Cowboys. All right. Now we'll move on to the next game. This game is on Sunday, December 31st, and we have got the Miami Dolphins, after that big win over the Cowboys, finally beating a team over 500, facing off against probably America's sweethearts right now, the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore at 12-3. Um, this game is basically they're playing for home field advantage here for that number one slot. If the Ravens get the win, they'll clinch home field advantage. If the Dolphins win, they'll be tied, but the Dolphins will have the tiebreaker at the head-to-head. This is a tough one. Dolphins, Tua's playing well. Waddle, Tyreek Hill returned. Defense played good. Ravens, what can you say? They went up against who I thought was the number one team in the NFL, the San Francisco 49ers, and got the big win in not Candlestick, Levi Stadium in San Francisco. The Ravens return home 12-3 with right now, you'd have to say the MVP frontrunner, Lamar Jackson. I am going to go here with the Baltimore Ravens. And the reason why I'm going to go with the Ravens here is Baltimore is a tough place to play. Might be cold weather. The Dolphins playing in South Florida there, used to that nice weather. If there's any type of wind or anything like that, I think it plays more into Lamar Jackson's hands than it does Tua, just because Lamar can add stuff with his legs that Tua really does not go to that often. However, the Dolphins' running game can be strong, but I think that the Ravens' defense will have enough to stop the Dolphins. So I'm going to go with the Ravens here, and the Ravens to clinch home field advantage in the road to the Super Bowl will go through the Baltimore, the Ravens over the Dolphins. All right, now we'll move on to our next game. This game's at noon. It's on CBS. It is the New England Patriots versus the Buffalo Bills. The Patriots coming off a big victory over the Broncos in Denver, all but ruining Denver's playoff chances. Bailey Zappi at quarterback. The Patriots just scrappy. They don't really have, their offense, a lot of injured players. You have Devontae Parker, but after that, it just falls off. And Stevenson will probably still be hurt. I'm not really sure how they got it done against Denver, but they did. So credit to Bill Belichick for getting his team ready to play. They're going to be going to Buffalo, and they're going to be playing the Bills in Orchard Park. The Bills 9-6 right now, playing really good football. I think this is kind of the difference between last year and this year. Last year, I thought the Bills peaked in the middle of the season and never quite returned back to form. It feels like now the Bills are peaking at the end of the season, and this is what they want. The Bills, you got Josh Allen at quarterback, of course. The guy that I'm interested in seeing just a little bit more out of it would be Stephon Diggs. He hasn't been over 100 yards in 9 consecutive games. And I just feel that you got to have a breakout game from Diggs, especially going into the playoffs. And right now they're in a wild card. They're in the wild card position. So they could go up to 10-6. If the Dolphins lose, that takes them to 11-5. I'm not sure who holds the tiebreaker. If the Bills have a possibility, if the Dolphins lose, if the Bills can still get the division over the Dolphins. And oh no, actually I take that back. The Bills beat the Dolphins earlier in the year. So I believe if the Ravens beat the Dolphins and the Bills beat the Patriots, which I am predicting the Bills will beat the Patriots, they go into a season 7 or a 17th week matchup, Bills versus Dolphins for the title, the AFC East title. So this is a big game for the Bills here. So I'm going with the Bills. The Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, to set up a chance to play for the AFC East title, or AFC East title against the Dolphins in Week 18. So I'm going with the Bills. Josh Allen, look for Stephon Diggs to wake up. The James Cook, and you saw some carries from playoff Leonard Fournette. So I'm going to go with the Bills here to get the victory and have a chance to play the Dolphins for the title on Week 18. All right, now we're going to move on to our next game. This game's on New Year's Eve. It's at noon, and it's on CBS. It's the Atlanta Falcons and Taylor Heineke versus the Chicago Bears and Mr. Fields, Justin Fields. Bears, Falcons. All right, the Falcons, they're so hit or miss. They just, one week they play somewhat decent. They really don't know what they're doing at quarterback. Is it Heineke? Is it Ritter? Ritter, Heineke. Um, Kyle Pitts. Now he's a great first quarter player and doesn't do anything the rest of the game. The Bears. Justin Fields playing decent football. The Bears are kind of like that team. They've been sneaky decent this last part of the year. I think Justin Fields is telling the Bears, "Hey, let's lose our two top draft picks next year on offensive line and get me Marvin Harrison Jr. and see what happens." So I am going to go with the Bears at Soldier Field, um, just for the fact you're going to have the weather on your side. The Falcons are used to playing indoors. The Bears outdoor team. Justin Fields is playing good football. He's really making that push to become, well, I mean, he is the starting quarterback, but to remain the starting quarterback of the Chicago Bears. So I'm going to go with the Bears here over the Falcons. And the Falcons, that'll drop down to 7-9, and they'll all be out of that playoff race there in the NFC. All right, we're going to move on to the next game. This game's on December 31st. It's at noon. It is the Las Vegas Raiders at 7-8, coming off a gigantic victory over the Kansas City Chiefs on Christmas, going up against Minshew Mania and the Indianapolis Colts at 8-7. Indianapolis really laid an egg last week against the Falcons. And Heineke. I guess Heineke did get the victory there for Atlanta, but I just don't know quarterback wise with the Falcons what their plan is there. I just don't think Heineke is your long term quarterback, nor do I think Desmond Ritter. So I think they'll probably end up going to the draft with the Falcons and picking up a quarterback. But you got the Colts are kind of in the same predicament with Gardner Minshew, who played really well, however, did not play well last week. And you remember they got Richardson on the IR. Now you talk about the Raiders. Um, Raiders played some great defense against the Chiefs, got the victory, very confident. You got Max Crosby. You got Antonio Pierce, who's trying to become the head coaching job. If you're Mark Davis right now, I think you take the interim tag off Pierce right away and make him the coach for the Raiders. But as you know, what the Raiders, they're crazy. You never really know what's going to happen with the Raiders. So I'm going to select the Raiders. I think the Raiders get the victory here. I know it's at Indianapolis, but the Raiders have that confidence right now, and they had a great running game going against the Chiefs, even with Josh Jacobs out. But the Raiders, the thing that they need to really, if they could get this together, is their passing game. They struggled mightily in the passing game, not completing a pass in the final three quarters of the Chiefs game. Devontae Adams being held, I believe, was just a one catch and like 4 yards for the entire game, but still getting the job done against the Chiefs. So I'm going to go with the Raiders. I think they put the offense together a little bit more. The Colts and Minshew Mania, I think you're going to see maybe Minshew Mania in. But right when I say that, the rise of Minshew Mania happens, and the Colts still have a chance to be in the playoffs, sitting at 8-7. But the Raiders are in the same boat where they have a chance to possibly. I mean, it's far fetched that they could win the division, but they were talking about that a lot. They still are not mathematically eliminated. So I'm going to go with the Raiders to go to 8-8 here. All right, let's move on to the next game. And we have got in Jacksonville, we have got the 2-13 Carolina Panthers going up against the 8-7 Jacksonville Jaguars. The Panthers 2-13. Bryce Young, he's taking his lumps this year. They have been playing a little bit better football as of late. They're scrappy. I mean, Carolina's a scrappy team. I think you look back on Carolina, I think you should have kept Steve Wilkes as your head coach last year. I thought their trajectory at the end of the year last year, they were going upwards, but now you got them sitting at 2-13, going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars in Duval, in Jacksonville. Here's the deal with Jacksonville. They're not playing good football right now. Trevor Lawrence is struggling. He was injured a couple of weeks back. I don't know if maybe that's a reason why, but the Texans are, I'm sorry, the Jaguars were playing some really good football, and they were kind of a team on a rise. They're still sitting at 8-7. They still have an opportunity to make the playoffs. Actually, yeah, I should be leading the division. So You got the Jags at 8-7. I am going with the Jaguars here. I think Trevor Lawrence. I think he gets his team back on the winning ways. The Panthers probably fall to 2-14. The Jags, they've got to string something together. They they played, against the Chargers last year, made that comeback in the playoffs. Kind of were like that team to keep an eye on. Trevor Lawrence, he's battled mightily the last couple of weeks, but it's just I think it's come to that time to the Jags have either got to put up or shut up. They get this win here, puts them at 9-7. The Panthers, this is a very winnable game for Jacksonville because the Panthers have struggled all season. But if the Jags leave the Panthers in this game, watch out. I think Bryce Young has that ability to take control of the ball game and lead the Panthers to victory. But here I'm going with the Jags. I'm going with Trevor Lawrence. I just think that the Jags still have something left. I know they've struggled the last couple of weeks, but I think it's time for the Jags to say we're ready to go into the playoffs and maybe make a run at this being, a team that can be a problem to some teams in the playoffs. If I'm like the Chiefs or somebody like that, I do not want to face Jacksonville in the playoffs. I just don't think that'd be a good matchup for the Chiefs. But just throwing that out there, just on a side note, sidebar. All right, now we will move on to the next game. This game, it's an interesting one. You've got the Tennessee Titans versus the Houston Texans in Houston at 12 o'clock on New Year's Eve. The Titans at 5-10. They started Tannehill last week with Will Levis injured. The Texans 8-7. Okay, now this is going to be quite the game for the Texans. Can they get C.J. Stroud back? He's battled the concussion symptoms the last going on 2 weeks, even though I think he had the concussion even at the Bronco game 3 weeks ago. If the Texans can get C.J. Stroud back, this is going to be an interesting game because last C.J. Stroud played, he had the full arsenal receivers. He had Tank Dell. He had Nico Collins. Now you've got Tank Dell out for the year. Nico Collins was injured a little bit, kind of showed signs of rounding back into shape, but the Texans need their quarterback. This is in Houston. And I think Houston gets the win here from a personal standpoint, too. Remember when they played in Nashville a couple weeks back? The Titans wore the old Houston Oilers uniforms. I think this is a game for the Texans, Houston, the city of Houston and the fans of Houston to be like, hey, don't you ever wear our uniforms again. Those uniforms are Houston Oilers, Houston Texans. And yes, the Titans were the old Oilers. I get that. But when Bud Adams took Houston, the Levia Blue Oilers, that's Levia Blue. That's Houston. That's not Tennessee. And I think it's personal. And I'm going to go with the Texans here to go up to 9-7. The Titans will run to 5-11. And then you got to ask the question with Mike Vrabel. Is this it? Does he see the Grim Reaper the day after the NFL season ends? And if that happens, what is the deal with New England? If New England they got the win over the Broncos, of course. Belichick's a great coach. I mean, he's one of the best to ever do it, but you wonder if he's just running out of time there in New England. And if something like that happens, could you see a Belichick to San Diego, a Vrabel to New England, something like that, maybe a flip-flop with that. But I see the Texans getting this game done. D'Amico Ryans trying to get his team into the playoffs here. So I'm going to go with the Houston Texans to get the victory. All right, now we will move on to the LA Rams versus the New York Giants, 12 o'clock on Fox. The Rams playing some decent football. Matt Stafford, Nakua, Cooper Cup, Kyron Williams going up against the Giants. The Giants, here's the deal with the Giants. They were Tommy DeVito land for a few weeks. However, the Giants struggled yesterday against the Eagles, or 3 days ago. Sorry. I'm recording this a little bit earlier if you have not noticed. But the Giants were Tommy DeVito's team, but now they put in Tyrod Taylor at the end of that game, and Tyrod Taylor had a couple of decent drives. Yes, he did throw the interception at the end of the game that let the Eagles win the game. But you've got the Giants at 5-10 at home at the Meadowlands going against the Rams. Another thing about these games, it's always wild, is the time changes when the Rams coming all the way from the West Coast all the way to the East Coast. Early game at noon. The Rams playing good football, 8-7. McVay's got this team playing. Um, I thought this is where they'd be at the beginning of the year. So I'm going to go with the Rams just for the fact that I don't know what the Giants, what their plan is. Um, Dayball did not name a starting quarterback after the game. I thought maybe he'd be like, "Hey, we're going to stick with Taylor," but he was not convincing, or did not really say who he wants the quarterback to be. So I think the Giants are going to have that quarterback issue looming large this week. Meanwhile, the Rams, Nakua, Cup, Williams, Stafford, and you've always got Aaron Donald on the defensive side of the ball. And that always makes some dangerous. So I think I'm going with the Rams here. That gets the Rams up to 9-7. That NFC East, that's quite you look at that division. You got the 49ers. Yes, they did lose, but they're still one of the best in the NFL. You got the Seahawks who are pesky. You got the Rams who, they're fighting. So I mean, it's a strong little division there. And the Rams are, fighting for all their work to get a wild card. So I'm going to go with the Rams um, over the Giants in the Meadowlands. As for the Giants, you've got to wonder what their plans are for the future. You've got an injured Daniel Jones, who they're paying a crazy amount of money for. You got DeVito, who played well a few weeks, and then you've got Tyrod Taylor, the old vet, who's pesky and getting it done. I think next year you say, "Hey, Daniel Jones, this is it. You got one more season. If not, we either go Tyrod Taylor, we go Tommy DeVito." But I think Daniel Jones next year will be definitely the most important year of his career, because I just don't see them to continue paying that type of money. And I'm sure that the back end of that contract is not guaranteed. So it will give the Giants a chance to, get out from underneath that contract. All right, we'll move on. Let's see here. Time wise, oh yeah, we're good. So we'll move on to the next game here. And we have got the the Arizona Cardinals, going against the Philadelphia Eagles in Philly at noon on New Year's Eve. Cardinals, Eagles. All right, here's the deal, Cardinals fans. You're playing a little bit better football. Still got a long way to go. You just don't have the talent base right there to win games against really good teams. The Eagles, 11-4. It's so weird. It looks like they play really good. The next thing you know, they're in a dogfight at the end of the game. Um, you've got Jalen Hurts, who's always a threat, and then you've got that offense. You got Swift, you got Devontae, you got AJ Brown, you got the line, you got Kelsey, you got Cam Jurgens. You've got a great team. The defense. Now you got Matt Patricia leading the way on defense. That's kind of the question mark. You're just not sure, how that's all going to play out for them. But you're going against the Cardinals here in Philadelphia. Cardinals, warm weather team. Philadelphia will probably be cold, little rainy, snowy, just that Philadelphia, that tough Rocky Balboa weather. But I'm going to go with the Eagles here. I think the Eagles get this job done easily. I think do they cover it's a big spread. I don't know if they cover that spread or not, but I think the Eagles take care of business, roll it up to 12-4, and then they stay in line, for home field advantage with the battling back and forth with the 49ers. So I'm going to go with the Eagles here to go to 12-4. So Eagles over the Cardinals. Cardinals, we'll see what can happen next year for you. I'll get Kyler Murray back to complete 100% next year, and then get some players around him, and then we'll see what happens. So, all right. What we'll do right now, this is the Wide World of Ralph on 93.7 The Ticket. It is Wednesday night. We will throw it to break, and we'll be right back.
Hey there.
Hi, honey.
Uh-oh.
Remember we told Jamie and Mike about Liberty First Credit Union, how great their checking account and car loans are, the amazing service we get, and how we love being members?
Yeah?
Well, they took our advice. Jamie said how easy it was to move all their accounts and become members. Now they say they're banking with purpose at Liberty First Credit Union.
Learn more about being a member at libertyfirstcu.com. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose. Member NCUA.
There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism.
Problem gambling affects more than the gambler. It affects spouses, children, extended family members, and friends. If you are a loved one who's struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 476-2300.
Hi, it's Joel Norman, the voice of your Lincoln Stars hockey team. Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket every Tuesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. to hear the latest on the Stars with myself, head coach Rocky Russo, and special player guests.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back in the future.
Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
Hi, it's Charlie Stone again, and with me on the line, Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, I know how proud you and everyone at the dealership are to earn the prestigious Honda President's Award year after year, 17 times. Tell our listeners what it means to you and your customers.
Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, all of us are extremely proud to have earned this award, and I want all of our customers to know it's not just earned by one person's efforts. It's the entire dealership. Sales, parts, and our amazing service department.
17 times. Wow. How does that compare to other Honda dealers?
This award is only given to the most elite dealerships that demonstrate excellence. We really do strive to go above and beyond for the ultimate customer experience before and after the sale, Charlie.
That's why for 2022, Honda of Lincoln is once again Nebraska's #1 volume Honda dealer. Come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Experience the Landmark difference with the next level of dealer support. Landmark, your local John Deere dealer, continually works to have parts on hand the first time you walk in the door. Our internal route system means we can get the parts to you typically same or next day to keep you up and running. At Landmark, we understand time is money. Get more uptime with our after-hours parts and service support on the phone or in the field. Our sales, precision ag, parts, and service teams are ready to serve you this planning season. Stop by your local Landmark today to experience the Landmark difference.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com. You know that feeling after a good, hearty meal? The worries of the world just slip away. Time slows down. Nothing but good times and good company. That's what you get with Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Mary Ellen's does food right, with a menu that includes smoked wings, pulled pork, brisket, catfish. And don't sleep on their sides, shrimp and grits, collard greens, baked beans. It's food that makes your heart happy. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul, just east of 27th and Pineland. Let them fix you a plate.
Hey there.
Hi, honey.
Uh-oh.
Remember we told Jamie and Mike about Liberty First Credit Union, how great their checking account and car loans are, the amazing service we get, and how we love being members?
Yeah.
Well, they took our advice. Jamie said how easy it was to move all their accounts and become members. Now they say they're banking with purpose at Liberty First Credit Union.
Learn more about being a member at libertyfirstcu.com. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose. Member NCUA.
All right, everybody, we're back again. This is the Wide World of Raff on 93.7 The Ticket. It is Wednesday night. We're going over the NFL games for week 17 between December 27th and January 2nd. We've got a few more games to go, and then what we'll do is what time we have left, we'll cover the playoff race and see where your teams are sitting in the playoff race and if you're still alive. So we'll move on to the next game. Our next game we got is the New Orleans Saints versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Saints at 7-8 still have a chance for a division title, going up against Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa Bay at 12 o'clock on Fox. What can you say about the Buccaneers? I've put Baker Mayfield down, a few times this year, saying that this was, his last chance, and he just keeps on rising up. And now we get to the end of the year, Baker Mayfield is the future quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Both player and team have both said that they're interested in signing him to a long-term deal. And right now, if I'm the Buccaneers, I do it. He's done what he's needed to do this year. He's put up some great statistics this year. He's playing really good football right now. He gets this victory, and they can get a division title with Baker Mayfield after Tom Brady's retirement. Getting a victory over the Saints. Saints are, pesky. You got Kamara, not as loud a season a Kamara season usually is, but the Saints, you've got Olave, you've got Carr, you've got Tyson Hill, but you got the Buccaneers at home at the old Sombrero. Well, the new old Sombrero Stadium. And you got the Tampa Bay, you got the Cannons. I'm going with the Buccaneers. I'm going with Baker Mayfield. I'm going with Levante David. I'm going with Mike Godwin. I'm going with Mike Evans. I'm going with the Buccaneers to get a division title. Who would have thunk it? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning the division title. So I'm going with the Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield, maybe he makes some noise in the playoffs. He's just crazy enough that he's a gunslinger. He kind of some traits. He's not afraid to throw. Traits of like a Brett Favre, that he's not afraid to throw into spots where you say you probably shouldn't do it, but sometimes it happens for him. So I am going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win a division title, the NFC South. So Buccaneers, roll with the Bucs. All right, we'll move on to our next game now. This game's at 12 o'clock on Fox. We've got the San Francisco 49ers at 11-4 facing off against the Washington Commanders. This game's in Washington. 49ers, Commanders. Okay, the 49ers, horrible. They played bad on Christmas. And a lot of it is going to be pinned on Brock Purdy. He threw 4 interceptions. Darnold, they had 5 interceptions for the game. Purdy, 4 interceptions. He had some batted balls that were intercepted. Not always on the quarterback, but when you have a couple, then you've got to, if it's play calling or what. But Purdy went from America's darling MVP candidate to basically the garbage can now. And now people are like back to just Purdy having enough to get the 49ers over the top. The Commanders, you had Sam Howell that was starting for them, but now I believe this is Jacoby Brissett's job. He's had to relieve him twice now. Commanders, they're scrappy. I think Ron Rivera is coaching his final couple games with the Commanders. I think at the end of the year, the Magic Johnson-led ownership group will relieve Ron Rivera of his job. So he's coaching in his final couple of games. Meanwhile, the 49ers, you still got Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk. You got the defense of Fred Warner. And I think that defense is going to come out firing on all cylinders. Just for the fact that they were, I wouldn't say embarrassed by the Ravens, but they definitely did not play one of their best games of this season. So I am going to go here with the 49ers. I think even though it's in Washington, I know I talked about the West going to East, the time zones. I think that the 49ers take care of business here. And I think it'll be handily too. I think Brock Purdy gets back up on the horse, plays a strong game. Christian McCaffrey, I could see him easily rushing for 100 yards, maybe even catching 50. So I'm going to go with the 49ers here to go to 12-4 and still be competing for that first seed in the NFC. So, all right, we'll move on to our next game here. This game's at 3:05. Oh boy, AD's Pittsburgh Steelers going up against the 12s and the Seattle Seahawks. I almost said the Kingdom, but it's been a few years since they played at the Kingdom. But you've got the Steelers and Seahawks. Steelers, they woke up a little bit. Mason Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, took the Steelers, had some big chunk plays. Pickens jumped back. He just missed DeAndre Johnson on a couple long throws also. You've got Jalen Warren, Najee Harris. You got that Steeler TJ Watt, leading the league in sacks again. I think he's at 17, has a chance to lead the league 3 consecutive years. Going up against the Seahawks and Geno Smith. Geno Smith returned from injury. Seahawks, I don't know. They're just they're a hard team to grasp. You're just not sure if they're really good or if they're just slipping by teams. But they're 8-7, same as the Steelers. I am going to go with the. This is a tough one. Steelers or Seahawks? All right, this is for UAD. I'm going with the Steelers. I'm taking the Steelers because of the defense. I think the defense gets the job done for the Steelers. And then Mason Rudolph comes in and he gets a few chunk plays. You got to go to Pickens. I think you take at least 4 or 5 shots Pickens long a game, just for the fact that he is the catch he had against the sidelines was amazing, how he got 2 feet down, but the way he battles and just the acrobatic catches that he makes. So I am going to go with the Steelers here, and you get some production out of Jalen Warren and some production out of Najee Harris, and you make some stuff happen. Steelers run it up to 9-7, and then you got going into that final week, you have a really strong possibility of getting that wild card position. So I'm going to go with the Steelers here. The Seahawks, I'm not convinced by how good they are. I know they're at 8-7, but it just seems like they're missing something. But I could be wrong on this, but I'm going to go with the Steelers. All right, now we'll move on to the next game. This game is on New Year's Eve at 3:25. This game is on CBS, and you have got the Cincinnati Bengals and Jake Browning going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs at 9-6. This game's at Arrowhead. You got Jake Browning. Didn't play as well against the Steelers as what he had been playing, going up against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. This is probably one of the first times in Patrick Mahomes' career where there are questions raised, not about how great he is. That's not a question. Patrick Mahomes is probably, if not one of the best players in the NFL, but there's questions about this year. What is going on with Patrick Mahomes? What is going on with the offense? The receivers. Has Travis Kelce regressed? I mean, there's a lot of questions in Kansas City right now, and they're going to have a chance to answer a few of these questions. I know the Bengals don't have Joe Burrow. They might not even have Jamar Chase, but you got a chance to play an 8-7 Bengals team who are playing for a playoff spot. The Chiefs all but got the AFC West locked down. If they get this win, they'll clinch the division. If not, you run into trouble. But I am going to go here with the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. I think they answer some of these questions, they need this game just to put some things to rest. If they lose another game and you play the Raiders or maybe the Broncos back into a chance to win the AFC West, even though I don't think the Broncos mathematically can get that job done. Raiders have the tiebreaker apparently over the Chiefs. But I think the Chiefs take care of business at Arrowhead here, and they get the victory. They got to get this victory, or else there's going to be a ton of questions in Kansas City, and then you're going to hear a lot of people very upset because this was the year they put a defense on the field, and now their offense has just been just a lot of letdowns. So we'll see what happens, but I'm going to go with the Chiefs. All right, everybody, we'll go on to the next game here. The next game we got is the Green Bay Packers versus the Minnesota Vikings. Packers, Vikings in Minnesota. You've got Jordan Love going up against, I guess it's Nick Mullen. Yeah, Nick Mullen. Sorry, you never know with the Vikings at quarterback these days. You're like, is it Dobbs? Is it Mullins? But it is Nick Mullins. Packers, Vikings. This game is in Minnesota. I am going to go with, man, this is a tough call for me here. I think I am going to select here. Man, this is tough. I'm just not really. Oh, could I pick a tie? Could I pick a tie here? It feels like a tie football game here. But I am going to go with the Packers. I'm going to go with Jordan Love. I think this is the game. We've talked about Jordan Love. I see the future of the Packers. He's playing some decent football. But I think this is the game that Jordan Love becomes the official full-fledged quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. He's going to get a victory in Minneapolis. And that's a tough place to play. It's a loud crowd. But I'm going with the Packers. I think the Packers take care of business. They got to keep Jefferson in check. Don't let him get crazy. But if they do that, I think the Packers get a victory and they go to 8-8. And then now you've got the Packers who are, trying to make way, to get to that wild card spot because the Lions, as you know, have clinched the NFC. So NFC Central. So we're going to go with the Packers. This is the game. Jordan Love to make a playoff push. All right. Now we're going to move on to our last game of the week, and then we'll come back after we do this game, and then we will cover the playoffs and see where everybody sits there going into week 17. So the last game at 3:25 on December 31st, New Year's Eve, we have got this. I almost said it again. The San Diego Superchargers. You've got the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Denver Broncos at Power Field at Mile High in Denver. How can I say my dauber's down a little bit? The Broncos had just had all the chances in the world last week. They needed a lot of people to lose. They got a lot of those people to lose last week. Everything was falling into place for the Broncos to where if they won out, they'd be a wild card team, maybe even a division champion team because the Chiefs are struggling. But the Broncos decided to play the Patriots and decided not to show up the first half of the game. And with that, the Broncos fell to 7-8. Oh, so upsetting. So upsetting. But I know you all don't want to hear me complain about that. But we got the Chargers and Broncos. Chargers at 5-10 with Easton Stick. They were very pesky last week. They played a lot better than the 63-21 game against the Raiders 2 weeks ago. The Broncos, there's questions right now. Is Russell Wilson the quarterback next year? Does he return? Does he restructure his contract? Jerry Jeudy, you just don't know. This is the most frustrating Broncos team that I've watched in several years. But I, being the eternal optimist, Mr. Bronco, select the Denver Broncos to get the victory over the Los Angeles Chargers. Broncos, they need something. Get them to 8-8, have a chance to win out the year. But now that Raiders game, the last game of the year, that's looking like a pretty tough game. So can they get to 9-8? If they can get to 8-8, finish with a winning season, just finish on some sort of uptick. It's going to be interesting to see what Sean Payton does in the offseason. I think that there will be changes made in Denver. Could they have a new quarterback next year? Possibility. We're really not sold on whether Sean Payton is, if Russell Wilson is Sean Payton's quarterback or not. It was more he came into the job and Russell Wilson was there. Well, now you got this big contract out there. The Broncos could get out from underneath, $40 million of that contract. Will they do that? Will they restructure? It's going to be a year of a lot of questions in Denver. So we'll find out. But all right, that concludes our week 17 matchups. What we'll do is we'll throw it to break right here on the Wide World of Raff. And then when we come back, we'll talk playoff scenarios. So this is the Wide World of Raff on 93.7 The Ticket. We'll be right back.
Hey there.
Hi, honey.
Uh-oh.
Remember we told Jamie and Mike about Liberty First Credit Union, how great their checking account and car loans are, the amazing service we get, and how we love being members?
Yeah.
Well, they took our advice. Jamie said how easy it was to move all their accounts and become members. Now they say they're banking with purpose at Liberty First Credit Union.
Learn more about being a member at libertyfirstcu.com. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose. Member NCUA.
There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism.
Problem gambling affects more than the gambler. It affects spouses, children, extended family members, and friends. If you are a loved one who's struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 476-2300.
Hi, it's Joel Norman, the voice of your Lincoln Stars hockey team. Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket every Tuesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. to hear the latest on the Stars with myself, head coach Rocky Russo, and special player guests.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Sutter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back.
Sutter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SutterHeyman.com.
Hi, it's Charlie Stone again, and with me on the line, Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, I know how proud you and everyone at the dealership are to earn the prestigious Honda President's Award year after year, 17 times. Tell our listeners what it means to you and your customers.
Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, all of us are extremely proud to have earned this award, and I want all of our customers to know it's not just earned by one person's efforts. It's the entire dealership. Sales, parts, and our amazing service department.
17 times. Wow. How does that compare to other Honda dealers?
This award is only given to the most elite dealerships that demonstrate excellence. We really do strive to go above and beyond for the ultimate customer experience before and after the sale, Charlie.
That's why for 2022, Honda of Lincoln is once again Nebraska's #1 volume Honda dealer. Come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Experience the Landmark difference with the next level of dealer support. Landmark, your local John Deere dealer, continually works to have parts on hand the first time you walk in the door. Our internal route system means we can get the parts to you typically same or next day to keep you up and running. At Landmark, we understand time is money. Get more uptime with our after-hours parts and service support on the phone or in the field. Our sales, precision ag, parts, and service teams are ready to serve you this planning season. Stop by your local Landmark today to experience the Landmark difference.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
You know that feeling after a good, hearty meal? The worries of the world just slip away. Time slows down. Nothing but good times and good company. That's what you get with Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Mary Ellen's does food right, with a menu that includes smoked wings, pulled pork, brisket, catfish, and don't sleep on their sides, shrimp and grits, collard greens, baked beans.
It's food that makes your heart happy. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul, just east of 27th and Pineland. Let them fix you a plate.
Hey there.
Hi, honey.
Uh-oh.
Remember we told Jamie and Mike about Liberty First Credit Union, how great their checking account and car loans are, the amazing service we get, and how we love being members?
Yeah.
Well, they took our advice. Jamie said how easy it was to move all their accounts and become members. Now they say they're banking with purpose at Liberty First Credit Union.
Learn more about being a member at libertyfirstcu.com. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose. Member NCUA.
All right, everybody, we're back again. This is the Wide World of Raff on 93.7 The Ticket. It is Wednesday night, and we are looking at some playoff scenarios right now. For the AFC, you've got the Ravens right now on the number 1 slot, and you got the Dolphins at the number 2 slot. With that, this is still up for grabs. No one's locked home field advantage down yet. The Ravens got San Francisco. The Dolphins got Dallas. Oh, I'm sorry. I got last week's playoff scenarios. Sorry about that. I've let you all down here. 1 second. Oh, where are we at? Okay, here we go. So we got the AFC playoff picture. We got the Ravens at 12-3. We got the Dolphins at 11-4. And you got the Chiefs at 9-6 in the third. And then you got Jacksonville at 8-7. Those are your division leaders. And then you got the wild cards. You've got the Browns at 10-5, the Bills at 9-6, the Colts at 8-7. Now you got the Browns. Gosh, 10-5. They're good. Browns, I think, good for the playoffs. And then the Colts on the tiebreakers of the Steelers, Bengals, and Texans. And you got the Texans, Steelers, Bengals, Raiders, Broncos, and Jets that are mathematically eliminated. The Titans mathematically eliminated, and the Chargers mathematically eliminated. The Broncos, the loss to Patriots, just stamped out any playoff hopes. They're still there, but they're pretty much out of it. The Raiders are still alive. The Bengals, they're still there. Steelers, they own head-to-head over the Bengals. And then the Texans, if they can get some wins, if CJ Stroud returns, they have the head-to-head over the Steelers. And over the Steelers own the head-to-head over the Bengals. The Texans hold the head-to-head over the Steelers. So that's how that looks in the AFC. Now we'll move to the NFC here. The NFC, you got the division leaders. You got the 49ers and Eagles tied at 11-4. And then you've got the Lions at 11-4. However, the 49ers have the conference record tiebreaker over the Eagles and Lions. And the Eagles have the tiebreaker over the Lions. That's why the Lions are number 3. The Bengals are number 4. They're leading the division. And now at the wild card spots, you've got the Cowboys at 10-5 who've clinched the playoff berth. You got the Rams who hold the head-to-head tiebreaker over the Seahawks. The Seahawks have 2 winnable games remaining on the schedule, and they hold that last playoff spot in the wild card in the NFC. And these are the teams that are looking in. You have the Vikings at 7-8. They own the tiebreakers of the Falcons and the Packers. You have the Falcons at 7-8. They own the head-to-head tiebreakers over the Saints and Packers. And meanwhile, the Packers are at 7-8. They own the head-to-head over the Saints. The Saints at 7-8. They are clinging to playoff hopes. They're going to need a lot of help in front of them to get in. The Bears are not mathematically eliminated. They are 6-9. They're playing good, 4 wins in the last 6 games. They're not mathematically eliminated. Then you've got the Giants who are eliminated, the Commanders who are eliminated, the Cardinals who are eliminated, and the Panthers who are eliminated. So right now, you've still got the home field advantages for both conferences up for grabs, and the number 2 slots are up for grabs. So these next 2 weeks of the NFL are going to be super exciting. It's going to be a lot of good football to watch. You got some teams battling for wild cards. It's going to be really fun to see how these playoffs shape up, and going into the new year, it's going to be a lot of good football in the NFL. So thanks again for joining me on the Wide World of Raff. I really appreciate you guys every week listening, joining in. Feel free to voice your thoughts. I always love to hear from you guys. Have a great rest of your week, and have a great new year. Happy 2024. I look forward to joining in with you guys in 2024. So have a great rest of your day or rest of your evening, and I will talk to you very soon, or I'll see you on the drive from 8 to 10, Monday through Friday. Take care, everyone. It's been the drive, 93.7 The Ticket. Or this has been the Wide World of Raff on 93.7 The Ticket.